In 2015, Marcus Persson, best known as the creator of Minecraft, went on a late-night Twitter rant about his loneliness and lack of human interaction since he got rich. In a series of tweets, he questioned his purpose in life, complained about his inability to find a partner, and basically talked about his isolation from people. In one particular tweet, he said, "The problem with getting everything is you run out of reasons to keep trying, and human interaction becomes impossible due to imbalance." Moments later, he added, "Hanging out in Ibiza with a bunch of friends and partying with famous people, able to do whatever I want, and I've never felt more isolated." Just a year earlier, Persson had sold his stake at Mojang AB, the company behind Minecraft, to Microsoft for an incredible $2.5 billion, making him a billionaire practically overnight. And Sir Persson's case isn't unique. Many billionaires live very lonely lives. They're just less vocal about it. So why are billionaires so lonely? Isn't having lots of money supposed to solve your problems? Welcome to ALUX. Today we're taking a look at 15 reasons why it's not all rosy on the other side of wealth. Number 1. The wealthy often work longer than most people. Ever hear the saying, "You work the most when working for yourself"? Well, being your own boss isn't exactly a vacation. That said, most self-made millionaires and billionaires work more hours than the typical person. In many cases, they're the first to arrive at the office and the last to leave, typically hours after employees. And working long hours means sacrificing in the work-life balance. So most rich people are pretty used to being immersed in their work and have almost zero social life. Number 2. A billionaire's schedule is not always typical. Aside from working the long hours, billionaires often don't have typical schedules. Since they don't work for anyone and are not monitored, they learn to work when and where they're most productive. And that, in some cases, can be weekends, evenings, and other typical social times. Number 3. Rich people can afford to pay for things others need help with. If you're not exactly affluent, you'll find that you depend on friends and family for a lot of things. For example, you could have a neighbor look after your home while you're out of town, or ask a family member to babysit your child while you're at work. However, rich people, they've got the money to pay for such things. For instance, they can install a sophisticated security system in their home, hire someone to watch their children, etc. So they end up not needing people to do things for them. Number 4. Billionaires have less in common with average people. Billionaires and self-made rich people generally have goals and dreams that motivate them to succeed, and their interests and conversations often revolve around these things. And that's in contrast to interests and topics of conversation among average people, so they appear self-absorbed, boring, or even annoying to some people. This lack of common interest eventually pushes them into isolation. Number 5. The ultra-rich spend the majority of their time chasing their dream. Look, self-made billionaires are usually very driven people. Take a look at Elon Musk, who, despite being successful with Tesla, also founded and runs SpaceX, the Boring Company, and a bunch of other companies. And as if that's not enough, he's currently fighting to buy out Twitter. Self-made billionaires are motivated by their dream and spend all of their time and energy on them, often at the expense of a social life. Number 6. Billionaires come off as intimidating to most people. Imagine being in the presence of someone like Jeff Bezos or Mark Zuckerberg. Would your confidence be the first thing to go out the window? Would it take a tremendous amount of courage to actually say something? Now, with that said, friends are people you should feel easy and comfortable around. You shouldn't feel like you need to impress them. But unfortunately, many people are awed and intimidated by billionaires. And for this reason, many wealthy people find it hard to make real connections with new people, as everyone tends to treat them differently. And on that note, number 7, it's harder to find genuine friends when you have money. Having money can make friendships complicated. Ask most billionaires. Yes, you'll find it easier to get people's attention. In fact, if you're a self-made billionaire, you'll start to see old friends and family who you probably haven't seen in years popping back up into your life. But the thing with having lots of money is, you can't tell whether the people you have around you see and like you for who you are, or if they're just there for the financial favors you can offer them. For this reason, many billionaires are suspicious of new or rekindled connections and tend to isolate themselves. Or if they meet new people, they keep some distance until they have an idea of whether or not they're genuine. Number 8. Rich people attract others who worship them. Having money and consequently power tends to attract yes people. Okay, so what does this mean? Well, instead of friendships, where you can be truthful and challenge each other, the super rich tend to get friends who treat them like gods. These friends agree to everything. They never criticize or give their true opinion, and in many cases, they don't take offense, even when they should. Maintaining such friendships is usually tiring and makes you feel lonely, even in the midst of all these people. Number 9. Billionaires are pretty picky about the people they let into their lives. On a similar note, you'll hear people often comment that so-and-so became rich and moved away from people. Well, most billionaires, especially those who've built themselves independently, tend to be highly disciplined and focused. Even when such a person is off work, you'll still find them lost in their own thoughts or having intellectual conversations. To a billionaire, time is the most important resource and should never be wasted. And coupling this with a higher suspicion of people, ultra-rich individuals tend to be picky about who their friends are. Number 10. Most billionaires enjoy being alone. While this might seem kind of odd, some billionaires actually like being alone. Waking up early to spend some alone time, whether exercising, meditating, or just planning, is a well-known rich people habit. To some rich people, being alone doesn't always mean being lonely. Some billionaires go to the extent of buying private beaches, vacation homes, or yachts just to have a place they can get away from the world. Number 11. They have strict routines. Self-made billionaires are probably some of the most disciplined people on the planet. They have productive habits that they've built into routines, and these routines often include waking up early, exercising, reading, meditation, going to work, and later spending some time with the family. Given just how busy they are, you'll hardly ever see wealthy people allocating time for social activities on their schedule. Number 12. To billionaires, genuine friendships are few and far between. Now you're probably wondering, can't billionaires just be friends with each other then? After all, they share the same interests and habits. Well, the problem is that relatively speaking, there aren't that many, and often billionaires are quite different in terms of their focus areas. For instance, while Warren Buffett and Elon Musk are both billionaires, they likely share very little else in common, not to mention that Nebraska and California aren't exactly neighbor states. Number 13. A billionaire's mindset and attitude are far different from the average. It's no secret that wealth distribution is massively disproportionate. The super rich, who own nearly 50% of the world's wealth, only make up 1% of the population. From this figure, you can tell that a billionaire is not your typical guy on the street. They're people who stand out from the crowd. And to amass such great wealth, your thoughts, beliefs, behaviors, and even your values are much different than the average person's. You don't conform to the norm, and for these reasons, billionaires tend to follow paths that no one else understands, and that alone creates isolation. Number 14. They have expectations or a face to maintain. Billionaires are seen as these super intelligent, all-knowing beings, so many people look up to them. And with this responsibility on their shoulders, they're basically not allowed to not know or even show vulnerability sometimes. For instance, Warren Buffett is often regarded as the greatest investor of all time, so everyone expects him to know what to do at any given time to make money investing. Having this massive burden placed upon you kinda makes it hard to depend on anyone else. Number 15. Billionaires are leaders, not followers. Billionaires are where they are because they make the rules rather than follow or comply with the status quo. When you're a leader, you attract followers, not equals, and this can actually feel very lonely. And that brings us to today's question. How has your financial growth journey gone? Have you lost friends along the way? We love hearing from each of you, so please share your experience in the comments. And don't forget to use the word lonely along with your experience so we can identify the true A-Luxers among you. And speaking of true A-Luxers, if you are one, you know we've got a bonus for you coming up. And today's bonus is that it's lonely at the top because you are literally alone. As you climb the financial ladder, you find fewer and fewer people. When you eventually get to the very top, you find that you might actually be literally alone. And that's kind of why the poorest communities typically have the strongest social connections. So if you're on a quest to the top, it's vital to take the right people with you. It's only going to be lonely up there if you don't work to bring anyone else along. Thanks for tuning into today's video, A-Luxer. We appreciate each and every one of you. We'll see you back here tomorrow. Thank you for watching this video, A-Luxer. If you found it valuable, consider subscribing to our channel and joining our awesome community. And if you're still hungry for more, we handpicked this video for you to watch next. Or head over to our website for more amazing content. See you tomorrow.